What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we're here with the brand new Kizuna clash against Marco and Ace, which is really exciting because this unit is very, very good, which we'll talk about what he all does in this video today. And also, there is this brand new Kizuna clash Xistens quest that you can go ahead and clear. It gives you this Sengoku character. He has a lot of different effects that can help you clear each of these mini bosses, or each of the bosses inside the Kizuna clash. So if you do struggle, pick up this Sengoku. He's very easy to clear. You can clear it with double buggy. It's very, very simple. So make sure to pick him up, max him out if you do need it. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and actually talk about the actual duel unit that is newly released, Marco and Ace, which is a pretty awesome duel unit, I will admit. I mean, I would love to see a legend character of this, unit in the future. That'd be awesome. But either way, Marco and Ace, they are both strength characters, so it's a strength unit no matter which one you switch into. Marco is a free spirit fighter, Ace is a free spirit shooter, and together they are also a free spirit fighter. Now, as for their fused captain effect, they will go ahead and boost strength characters attack by 3.75, also giving them a 1.25 recovery boost, which is very, very understated. That's a very good effect, and also makes recovery and tandem slots beneficial to strength characters. It's a great captain effect. Obviously, monocolor isn't really that ideal, especially now on global, but on JP, this character is going to see enormous amounts of play, especially with the V2 Snake Man and the Sabo character. This character is very, very good for them. Now, as for their special ability, obviously they do need a lot of cooldown. They need, 10 different skill ups, or 9 to 10 skill ups, and you need to max their limit break in order to get all of their additional cooldown. So this special ability will go ahead and cut your crew's HP by 99%, but it deals 30 times the HP that you lost in typeless damage to all enemies, and then it heals 50 times this character's recovery at the end of the turn for one turn. So it puts you at really low HP thresholds, which is a little scary, but after you do your attacks, it heals you back up, which is really, really cool. I like that about this character. And it will also go ahead and boost strength characters attack by 2.75 times during the turn you launch the special, and completely removes enemy attack up and enrage, and then it fuses for 3 turns into Marco and Ace. Like, what a phenomenal character this is. Like, this character is an enormously powerful strength character to have in your arsenal. Very, very good unit. As for their switch effect, it is a little bit interesting. So it changes their own slot and unfavorable slots into STR. So unfavorable meaning badly matching slots. So this is a very, very good effect once again. This is going to have a lot of usage in the future. When this first came out on Japan, not too many players knew why this character was even a thing. But then obviously, once Snake Man came out, this character was a perfect character for the Snake Man, of course. So definitely max this guy out. He's going to help you a lot in the future. And I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the brand new Kizuna clash against Marco and Ace. Alright, so first of all, we are going to have 3 free-to-play teams, and then I'll have my 3 teams that I'm using as of right now for this Kizuna clash. I'll leave timestamps down below so you can see when the free-to-play teams start and also when my team starts. So if you want to check them out, you can go ahead and do so. So let's go ahead and talk about the dex variation, or the quick variation first. The quick variation is the first one that appears. In this particular variation, you want to be bringing characters that are Strength, Dex, and Psi, because those are the characters that will be receiving the cooldown reduction at the start of the quest. Very, very important to do so. Also, take note of the characters that are boosted in this Kizuna clash as well. The Luffy Zoro batch, including Sober Mask and all of the rare recruits, they're all boosted here. X Drake from the recent treasure map is also boosted. The free-to-play Otama, 6+ Lucy is also boosted. So there's a pretty good array of characters that you can have a look at that you would want to bring for this Kizuna clash. So on stage 2, in this certain situation here, I actually encounter Garp, which is the hidden boss. But normally Vista has 4 turns of defense up and 4 turns of chain coefficient reduction, which actually still gets applied on this specific variation, but of course it'll be Vista instead of Garp, of course. And then moving on to the final boss fight, which is against the Marco and Ace. They have 7 million HP at the first level of the Kizuna clash. On this variation, they have delay immunity, so you can apply a defense down or a poison or whatever, but you can't delay them. Also, 3 turns of burn is going to be there. Having Stampede Sabo is just so good for this fight. So if you have him, I'd highly suggest using him because he removes the burn and he gives you a conditional boost. Your health is also cut by 10%, and you also get a full board of block orbs. And after the first turn of attacks, he will cut your health in half and give you normal attacks only. And when you kill this guy, he's going to recover with 30% of his HP. So that's one of the most annoying things, is you have to remove the burn. If you didn't revive, you wouldn't actually have to remove the burn. So yeah, it's quite frustrating that you do need a dedicated unit to remove the burn, and Stampede Sabo is the best unit to do that. And also with this free-to-play team variation, we're using Luffy and Zoro as a friend captain just because they're boosted, and they have a phenomenal damage boosting special effect. The next variation of the Kizuna is against the Dex variation. Once again, you'll be up against Marco and Ace, but on stage 2, you'll have a different mini-boss, of course. Stage 1, you'll get cooldown reduction for Strength, Dex, and Int characters, so you definitely want to be building a team with those colors, of course, and of course, because it's a Dex boss and you can bring strength characters, then Luffy, Taro, and Zoro are going to be fantastic as a friend captain here. Now, I'm running a full slasher team, or aside from TM Shanks, but we'll talk about why he's so good in a minute. But we're running a full slasher team with TM X Drake as the captain. X Drake is actually boosted on this Kizuna clash, same as Luffy and Zoro, so it just made sense to use them both together. And once again, I find the hidden boss once again for the free-to-play team, but even if you didn't find it, you can take a little bit of time in trying to clear it by yourself. Just using the switch effect of Luffy and Zoro to remove special bind, stalling, then switching, and then using the Okiku special to remove the paralysis. It is definitely able to do it. It's just really annoying that for this specific example, we couldn't encounter the Izo, but you get special bind paralysis, and it's really annoying. Having the Kizuna Okiku just makes it a lot easier with the Luffy Zoro friend captain. And the final boss fight against the Marco and Ace, they have a 2-turn, 2-hit Dex Orb barrier. You need 2 Dex Orbs before you can start dealing damage to him, which is why I have the treasure map Shanks to go ahead and use his special twice in the same turn. It removes barriers by 1 turn with each activation, so it makes it a lot easier. We've also got Lucci for color affinity, Rayleigh for attack boost, we've got the Luffy Zoro for the chain lock and the orb boost, and then you can go ahead and kill him. He does give you badly matching slots as well, which TM Shanks is able to help remedy that as well. So TM Shanks is like the MVP against the Dex variation of the Marco and Ace Kizuna Clash boss. The final of the Kizuna Clash bosses is against the Strength variation, where it's highly advised to bring Sober Mask, but if you don't have your own Sober Mask, you could definitely run something a little bit different, like Sober Mask Friend Captain with, you know, maybe potentially 6+ Lucy as your captain. That could potentially work too. But for this variation, once again, Strength Dex Quick is what you want to be aiming to build here, because those are the characters that get that cooldown reduction. On stage 2, you have to deal with Oars. Oars has around 700,000 HP, and he's pretty simple. All he does is give you 5 turns of attack down. So it's really not that challenging to get rid of, because we have access to a character such as Colosseum Oars. If you guys had been playing the game, you would have Colosseum Oars. You could use someone else like Bobbin, for example, to remove the attack down. But the really cool thing is the fact that with Oars, if you are using Sober Mask, you can actually use his captain action to just completely kill Oars on turn 1, which is really good. You saw that I actually stalled a turn there. I didn't really need to stall. I could literally just use the captain action, attack, kill him, then use Oars in the final boss room. That is also a really valid way to get through this here. But as for the final boss fight against Marco and Ace, they have a preemptive attack of delay and defense down immunity. So the only way you can get a conditional boost is by removing their immunity somehow, which in my specific team I do that. Or you can use Colosseum Magellan, who will give you that poison conditional attack boost. So he's really advised to be used here. Also, your captains will get 1 turn of Special Reverse and Despair, which if you are using the Sober Mask captain action on the stage prior, you completely avoid the Despair and Special Reverse, which is why he's very much advised for this variation here. I wouldn't suggest using any HP cut effects on any of these variations, because if you health cut the Marco and Ace, they're going to heal back to full anyways, and they also remove all your beneficial effects. so you don't really get too much benefit out of cutting their health, unfortunately, this time around. So there we go. Those are all of the teams that are free-to-play teams, and now we'll go ahead and move on to the pay-to-play teams, I guess you could say, or just my personal teams anyway. So once again, we have the quick variation, where I am going to be using Luffy and Zoro as the main captains, with a bunch of really powerful subs that will enable me to get multiple turns of damage here, because we've got the color affinity of Sabo, and he also removes the burn. Once again, I said earlier on, he's a very, very good unit for this particular dungeon, and he actually gives you color affinity for 2 turns, so that's really, really nice to have. We've also got the Caesar character, or Gangster Gastino, because he can provide a poisoned conditional attack boost, and it's for 3 turns, so that is really nice to have. Sober Mask, we can launch his special twice in the same turn to get a 2.5 times attack boost. Not really too sure if that's the most ideal way. If there was another Dex character that gives a lot of boost, that would be nice, but the thing is, you can't use someone like, hypothetically, like the Zoro and Sanji Kizuna unit, because you've got Luffy and Zoro as your captain, so you can't like overlap those units, which is kind of a pain, but not really too bad. Also in this situation here, we do use the Luffy and Zoro special on stage 3, like the final boss stage, but we don't use both of them on the same turn. We're going to save one of them for the revive, so that when he does revive, we can deal good damage to him with that very minor amount of HP that he does have left. My personal team against the Dex variation is once again very similar, just a full-on strength team with Luffy and Zoro as the main captain. I am still using Treasure Map Shanks here to remove that barrier, just because he is so good for that. And then we've got Lucci for color affinity, we have the Bonnie to remove the paralysis, and the special button that gets inflicted on stage 2. And then we've also got Sabo and Coalla for an attack boost once we reach to the final boss stage. Once my Marco and Ace character has a reasonable cooldown, I am tempted to actually just use them instead, because they give a higher attack boost, and then by doing so, removing the Sabo from the team, we can then use a support Sabo character on my own Luffy and Zoro character, which I think actually makes the most sense, and I think will do more damage. So once he has a reasonable cooldown, I'm not too sure he'll have a reasonable cooldown by the end of this Kizuna mode, but if he does, I think that'd be a really, really good option to go ahead and do that. But the rest of the team is pretty like straightforward and self-explanatory, so I will talk about the final boss team. So the final boss is the Strength boss, and we are running once again a Sober Mask team. And with this team, we've got Luffy and Law as a sub for an orb boost. We have the V2 Nami for the conditional attack boost. If you are using a team with V2 Nami on it, make sure that you have full HP before activating her special ability, which would mean do not activate the effects of your dual units before you launch the Nami special, because when you activate the effect of, hypothetically, Luffy and Law, when they become the dual unit has a higher HP value compared to the Luffy or the Law character, which means that when the HP is expanded, your HP does not increase. It's just the whole, like, the team's HP does increase, but not your current HP. Your current HP will not increase with that, which means you're not going to be at full HP. So ensure you use the Nami special first to ensure that you will be at full HP when you launch the special effect. We've got Ores to remove the attack down. We've got the V2 Big Mom for the chain lock and the stat boosting increase. This team is going to last a really, really long time. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how far this team can actually take us. So that's going to wrap up this video today, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. And if you guys have, make sure to leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post on my channel, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Please make sure to go ahead and do that, because we are inching very, very close to 50,000 subscribers here on YouTube, and it would be absolutely awesome if we're able to reach that milestone. Thank you so much for the continued support, guys. But on that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.